Hello and welcome to NDTV. I'm Aditya Kaul. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a historic trip to Oman, and during that trip, the CEPA agreement, the FTA, has been signed between India and Oman that will boost the trade and commerce between the both countries. What does this mean for the India-Oman ties and the larger Middle East connect that New Delhi has emerged over the last decade? Joining us is Yousuf Al-Balushi, who is the chairperson of the Muscat Policy Council. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to begin by asking you about this entire visit of Prime Minister. But let's begin by talking about the main highlight, which is, of course, Prime Minister and his counterpart there signing the entire FTA, the CEPA agreement. How important is this from the perspective of Oman?
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having me. I think, this is absolutely a new milestone to the historical relation, especially the trade relation between Oman and India. I think the hard effort from both Oman and India in the last few years, because this was clearly indicated in the last visit of His Majesty a couple of years back here in Delhi, where they started the negotiation process for the CEPA and FTA. And I think the fact that they concluded this to be signed, that's telling us that the intentions and the willingness to boost this relation, it is there in the mind of the leaders of both countries, but as well in the institutional trust both countries are getting together. Now, what is really important that to remember that the real hard job, what is coming today, is a starting of something. It's not a conclusion of something.
Right.
So I think it's very important that this commitment which we have seen from both countries should continue now to enable and facilitate this the harvesting of the CEPA. Otherwise, it will be, as any other agreement, paper with the ink on the shelf somewhere.
Well, that's right. You were actually talking very important, critical point of how potentially the signing of this agreement is the beginning, and now potentially we'll see in several sectors implementation that needs to happen. Now, let me ask you about those sectors. Are we talking about only energy? Because when we look at the Middle East, we look at the energy, we look at the oil, but also about food security, also about a startup ecosystem, also about information technology, artificial intelligence being utilized perhaps by both countries. Oman and India coming together will be a game changer in many ways. So what are the sectors that you're looking at?
I think, there are some, first of all, I want here just to make sure to mention that the current, private sector integration between Oman and India, it was happening for the past year. Either that was through outsourcing, or it was through really getting the Indian talents down into Oman and helping the development project of the country. Now this is a new milestone to enable and just have a more multiplier effect for that and accelerate the process of this integration. And I think there are two elements which we are expecting. One very important element, earlier seeing the Indian private sector as just a service provider for the demand of the Omani market. That's not anymore is the rule of the game. I think what is needed now, that Oman can be seen as an opportunity for the Indian investors to come and invest into Oman. Oman is very well located in terms of the location. They are out of all choke points in the Middle East. They can be the real bridge to different markets. They have, in Oman we have different FTAs, which Oman can be a wonderful bridge to different markets. We have an FTA with US, we have an FTA with Arab FTA across all Arab countries. So I think Oman can be a destination for the Indian investments to go and invest there especially for those who already have a market in those areas where we are enabled there either legally or market-wise. That's one. Two, the critical areas of project or the critical sectors, which I think it will need more and more of collaboration. I mean, there are the common sector which all of us we know in terms of service. I think deepening that relation is very important. But I can name clearly 3 to 4 sectors which India can really be pivotal into helping Oman to achieve its objectives and goal of the Oman Vision 2040. I mean, I think the pharmaceutical sector, it's very important to be collaborated. India is very well advanced on that.
Yes.
And not only the end services of the pharmaceutical. You can go even before that to the IP, to the APIs and the rest. Then, I mean, the space. India has a wonderful space sector. And I think what we are seeing in the sphere of technology, how that's booming, we see as well the importance of the space market. The third, the defense manufacturing or the defense sector. That's as well, it's not discussed at all. So I think on top of the normal markets, I mean, energy, that's always the relation were there, the investment were there. But if there is a growth area where competencies can be bridged to Oman, but as well foreign direct investment from Indian capital can really come to Oman and see Oman as a destination to connect them to the other market. Because, I mean, there are a lot who are looking at Oman as a final destination, and they analyze that Oman's market is not big enough to invest in.
Right.
If you look to Oman as a muscle, you will not be convinced. But if you look to Oman as a joint, that's the place where you can be at.
You know, it's very interesting that you bring in this analogy of a joint, and you're talking about connectivity. You're talking about Oman as not just a final destination, but perhaps a bridge. So I want to ask you about the IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe corridor that was being worked out when India was hosting the G20, and the US and Europe and several countries in the Middle East came into the picture. But we saw a war that was shaping between Israel and Gaza. Unfortunately, there was not much progress. So how do you see IMEC as a corridor that can be grown? Or do you think potentially other connectivity projects where India and Oman can play a significant role?
I mean, I think in general, all connectivity projects, I mean, from the geo-economic point of view, those are veins to have the flow of product people to move. And more veins, it means the better circulation happening. Now, I mean, we were witnessing in the last, at least 6-7 years, different projects of connectivity were coming. We were concerned that these projects are having a polarization angle into developing and shaping them, rather than they were genuinely built to drive the connectivity. For example, when we looked at IMEC, we saw clearly IMEC was trying to have a more agile connectivity from India all the way to Europe. And always one of the risks in this line, it was the Strait of Hormuz generally. But still, IMEC decided to go through the Strait of Hormuz and not to use Oman as the connection in the heart of this. So I think, any connectivity project are very much appreciated and welcomed if we will build those projects based on convenience, and we will make sure not to exclude the different countries are all on the way and complement each other. But if these projects will be coming from a polarized perspective, or they will be coming as a solution to a regional integration, despite looking to the deep down roots of the challenges in the region, as you rightly mentioned. This project was trying to maybe overlook the Palestinian issue, but it end up that no, this the spike happened, 7th of October happened, and everyone is asking, is this project has another life to come back or no?
Right.
Still, I do believe connectivity is very much important. This type of project should continue being there, but more inclusive. As much as and I'm not trying to just advocate for Oman to be a part of it, but I think the inclusivity in all sense,
Right.
it should be there. And if there are any challenges prior to those connectivity projects, should be dealt with before jumping to the economic prosperity as a solution.
Interesting. You speak about that, but let's shift gear towards Prime Minister's visit again to Oman. How does Oman look at this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Because there has been decades-long diplomatic relations that have been there. But during this visit, we see that Omani leadership has now given the Order of Oman, the highest state honor, to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This clearly indicates the significance that Oman gives to India and the people of India. So, from the Omani perspective, how do you look at this award and generally Indian Prime Minister being there?
I think, I think this is a very historical visit from the Prime Minister being in Muscat, and this was a very, a response to the generosity which Sultan Haytham bin Tariq in his state visit to India, and he was very welcomed with the generosity, and I think this was a response to that generosity. As well, the honor, Oman honor, which you referred to, that's a clear recognition for the Prime Minister Modi's contribution, not only to the Omani-Indian relation, but to the wider global relation and global either connectivity and stability, which he was contributing to. That's a recognition, and I think since we saw the Prime Minister Modi coming to the power, this might be his second visit to Muscat, and always he was welcomed with all of this warmness, and we saw how the relation with Oman was really evolved more institutionally, structurally, and today we are witnessing a new beginning, and we hope that we can be again together in the near future, celebrating the fruits of this beginning.
Mr. Balushi, I also want to ask you, one of the game changers in the last 10 months, or I should say disruption, has been the tariffs that have been imposed by the US president, and a lot of countries are suffering. Some have reacted harshly, some have submitted to the demands of Donald Trump, but there are others like India that speak about strategic autonomy, and they say that India will negotiate, India will let diplomacy and backroom negotiations continue, and since then, unfortunately, there hasn't been a solution yet. There are still 50% tariffs that are on India. Do you think amidst these tariffs, India and Oman again have an opportunity, because India is trying to diversify trade all across, and this could be a win-win situation for both?
Absolutely. What I have to mention here, first of all, that Oman has an FTA with the US as well.
Yes.
As much as it has different CEPAs and FTAs with different regions. And I think, as I said, Oman and India's relation can play as a strategic autonomy for each one of themselves to complement their needs. But at the same time, Oman can be a bridge for India to different markets, including the US market. And that will not come through just bypassing the product, but through really investing there and trying to produce from the Omani market and the Omani land, and try really to refilter. Trying to export the same product which were here. So I think what is coming and needed, it is not only funds to come or just final product to go there to Oman and then to be distributed. Technologies, skill sets, resources, those are the real thing which are expected from this relation to go. And I think at the same time, Omanis very much can seek more strategically a part of their needs. And the good thing here, that this gate, if it really utilized efficiently, it will open a series of gates after that, not only limited to the Middle East. I mean, let's not forget Oman, along with the Indian private sector. I mean, 3 centuries back, they were in Southeast Africa together. So that's still an ambitious someone can look at. That's still an area someone can re-explore. We did it together before, we can do it again.
You know, one area, Mr. Balushi, that has been causing a concern over the last many years, and significantly recently, has been radicalization, you know, all across. We saw recently the unfortunate attack in Australia in which several people, 15 to 16 people were killed. And then there is radicalization happening through online means, etc. And there are countries now coming together with strengthening of security cooperation, intelligence cooperation, and countering this menace of radicalization. How has Oman been able to do this? You know, Oman is one of the countries in the Middle East, and perhaps one of the few in the world, that has been able to keep its space completely safe without radicalization. Maybe 1 or 2 elements in decades, but relatively it has been peaceful. So what's your secret?
Focus on your people. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first deterrence against any ideology, against any external threat, it is your own people. I mean, all the idea of thinking that we can export the security from outside through weapons, or we can import things through weapons or through security systems, that's not how it will work. I think Oman was having, different layers of tolerance initiative and project. I mean, even our project, which is called Tolerance Tasamuh, in the past 10 years, we were going around the world and trying to show how this tolerance project we were applying on the grassroots level, on the society level, on the citizen level, on the as well not only citizen but as well the resident level. Everyone on that land should feel that they are a part of it, and that's why we are very glad if you go down and try to build and focus on the people themselves, on the human being himself, on his education, on his all social needs, health, all of that, and they feel that they are respected, they feel that they are engaged, they will not allow any threat to come to you.
Right. Finally, I know you had a long day, but I have to ask you something very different, and this is about the soft power that India has. This soft power is about Indian cinema, it's about Indian food, it's about Indian culture. How is that looked at from the Omani perspective? Do you have a large Indian diaspora out there? Do Omani people also watch Indian films, consume Indian food?
The real answer, absolutely yes. Yeah. One, we have a large Indian diaspora there, and the good thing as well with us, that the Indian diaspora what we have, it's not about the quantity only, but we have quality.
Right.
So we have engineers, we have doctors, we are not talking about the technician positions or less. We're talking about the quality of people who are really helping the development. Two, I think, not only from today. Even my mom, she was and she is following the Indian cinema. All of our house's cuisine are very much infused with the Indian spices or Indian ways of cooking. So I think the soft power will reach there. The only thing which I would really would love to see more and more, that the Indian diaspora, we are getting the Indian soft power from India directly to our people.
Right.
It's not through the Indian diaspora who are there. So, the challenge which we are having in general, that the people-to-people engagement on the ground there. We have Indian societies living between themselves. And then we have other societies are living between themselves. So I think encouraging this intra-relation there, it will boost this soft power. But I can say your soft power, it's all over the place.
Well, I do hope that India and Omani culture connect much more, even further, and hope the groundwork for CEPA, the FTA between India and Oman, transforms this relationship. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Balushi, for joining us.
Thanks.